Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Hello. Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night. We're broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I am your host, Don Yazzie. With me, my co-host, Darren Yazzie. And if you stayed after Sean Kelly's Into the Night, I'd like to say thank you and welcome. And when you catch Sean Kelly's next episode, tell him I said thank you and hello. And here's my co-host, Darren Yazzie. Oh yeah. Before anything, I'd like to say thank you to Rai Voss, Codega's Codex of Curiosity, which he'll be joining us next week. So thank you again, Rai, for the intro, fire intro. There he is. Pine Hills, most interesting. How's it going? How you doing?
It's good. It's going good right now. We got an excellent lineup right now. I actually looked at a couple of, the She Squatchers. It's they're really bright, really, how would you say it? The high. Their energy is really high when it comes down to their podcast. They're really bright and fruitful ladies, group of women, and they have a lot of high energy in their episodes. So it's really nice to meet them. I just seen them just a while ago, and let's get this on, man.
Oh yeah. They have, it's like a good vibe. I know what you mean. It kind of like makes me want to go squatching with them. Like, hey, okay, it's not so bad and dangerous. Let's go check it out. Maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he wants to be nice to them. Who knows? Let them go to them. Let the Sasquatch go to them. I like how they approach things because that's how he is. Women and children. And I just told Jena earlier. Just while Jena was left the studio and came back in, I was telling her that how much I appreciate their time and appreciate what they've done and what they are continuing to do, and told them that they are pretty much ahead of their time, and we're catching up to them slowly and surely. And pretty soon, everyone's gonna see what they're doing in their work and appreciate them, like you and I already do. And it's an honor to have them. And without further ado, let's give the people what they want, shall we? Okay, let's bring up Miss Jen Cruz. Hey, Miss Jen Cruz.
Bonjour, hello, everyone. Thanks for having us.
Hello. Awesome. And then let's bring up Jena Grover. Hey, Jena.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us. This is exciting. Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Likewise. So how's the weather? Where you guys where you're at? How's your last investigation? I got so many questions to ask you, but I'll let you guys introduce yourselves to the viewers out there, if you will. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm Jen Cruz. I am team leader of She Squatchers. I'm also an enrolled tribal member at the Red Lake Band of Chippewa in northern Minnesota. And this is my lovely teammate, Jena Grover. And she is my other half, literally, in this whole world of she's my best friend. She's like everything to me. And I just flew back today. I spent the day flying back from Texas to Minnesota. I spent the last 16 days with her and our filmmaker, Jason Kenzie, from Searching for Sasquatch.
And I already miss them. I miss them terrible already. I just dropped them off this morning at like 3 a.m.
Yeah. I got home and I took a quick nap and woke up and here I am.
Oh man, that's a lot of energy right there. I'd be
Yes.
jet lag. I'd be like, nope, I can't do the show. But we appreciate your strength. May you give us all strength here in the show.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep. But yeah.
Initially,
Go ahead there. Sorry.
yeah, I think the first thing that I seen when we just barely met just a while ago was that the awesome She Squatchers lighting in the back. Then I looked and I seen it has the high heels. I think that was so awesome. I thought that was pretty cool right there. It put a big old smile on my face.
Yay.
I didn't even notice that. So you said something. That is awesome. Oh man, people say that they look like they walk in high heels, like really elegant, and how they walk in a straight line. So I got people saying that how they glide, no head bobbing, and their hands are like kind of like to the side.
You must be talking
How they
about
walk.
us, right? Not Bigfoot. Us, how we glide in heels.
He must have took some lessons from you guys.
Right.
So
All right. So okay, let's start off. Okay, all right. Before I ask the questions, let's start off by you got your first paranormal encounter, like Bigfoot. Doesn't have to be Bigfoot. Anything where you guys realize that you guys can experience things and see things that normal people can't. That type too.
All right, Jenna, you can go first. Do you want to go first?
Sure. It's funny because when you're young, things just happen and you accept them for being normal. So when you're seeing things, crosses on walls, and you're hearing things and seeing spirits move and shadows and everything, it's kind of normal. And it isn't until, you don't want to talk about it. I never wanted to talk about it, but it did feel kind of normal. So that's where I started. And I also had a lot of dreams. I've been a dreamer my entire life, and a lot of my information comes through dreams. And I think so many of us need to pay much better attention to our dreams, because they are telling us how to live and what to be careful for, what problems are coming and what to stay away from. Heck, they'll tell you in a moment that something's going to happen to give you the heads up. Even visions. And so I've been doing that since I've been young. And
oh man, you are but she's supposed to be a medicine woman, right?
no.
Yeah, it's passed down through the family. So that
It
gift.
is?
So someone like your grandparents or maybe before that had that same gift. So it's passed down, definitely. That's awesome. That's awesome. Woo-wee. Okay. What about you, Miss Jen?
All right. So yeah, when I was a little girl, I scared my parents so bad with the things that I would say, and that's how I learned very quickly that I was seeing and hearing things that other people just weren't, because I could sense the fear in my parents when I would say something like, "Great Aunt Gladys just died," and they would go, and I didn't know it before it came out of my mouth. I would just say it, or I would reply to them what I thought they were saying to me. I could never see their face at the time, I guess, but I thought I could hear them talking to me, and I would reply. And then my mom would go, "I didn't say that out loud."
Ooh.
Yeah. So, it was always things when I was little that I learned very quickly what scared my family. And so I tried to hide it. And so I'm like, okay, don't talk about that anymore. If I could try to not do that. And so for most of my life, until my 30s, last week.
But it might as well go down to 25, Jen. Let's go all the way.
Okay. I was just trying to be honest about the 30s part of it anyway. And
I say I turn 16 every year, so it's okay.
There you go. I truly did wear out I had a candle that said it was a big number 2 and a 9, and I truly did wear that thing out. Lit that thing every year. Anyway, So until my 30s, I was really trying to hide it. I was resisting it, fighting it. Still things would come through, but I was just trying to be normal because I learned at such a young age that this is scaring people. And I just really wanted to be accepted. And it felt like a big rejection when I was a kid when I would scare them. So it wasn't until my 30s that I learned how to do Reiki. I became a Reiki Master Teacher. And that just became my avenue for opening up and just allowing it to happen, everything that I had been resisting, and it just boom. When I got my final attunement to be a Reiki Master Teacher, this is a fun story. My Reiki teacher, she had a vision during my attunement, which is like a ceremony. And she saw this man's hand, an older man's hand, come and touch my arm, and he was like, "I found you." And she said, "He claimed you." And during my attunement, I was hearing the entire time wolves howling. And I thought it was part of the music that she was playing. I was like, that's just beautiful. I've never heard wolves howling in music before. I need to get that CD. This is back when CDs were going on. And so when it was all over, I asked her for the name of this album so that I could get it, because that was just so beautiful with the wolves howling through the whole thing. And she's like, "There's no wolves in that music, Jen." I'm like, "Oh yeah, there was the whole thing." And so she turned it back on, and sure enough, there were no wolves in that music at all. But it was clear as day, wolves howling the whole time for me. And within a week, my uncle, who is married to my mom's sister, who's completely white guy, right? He called me, and I was sure somebody must have died if he was calling me, because he never calls me. And he's like, "Hey, I need you to come up to my deer camp and push the deer, because the wolves are herding the deer away from my deer camp." And it's like really, really far away from me. And I was like, why do you want me to do that? And he's like, "Well, because they're on the Indian land, and the wolves are literally keeping them off of my deer camp property." And I was just like, "What?" And he goes, You have to be the one." I said, Why me?" He goes, "Because you're native." And I said, "So is your wife, and so are your kids. Why are you asking me to do it?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. It just has to be you." This is my very white uncle who's not into anything like that. That was what started me into looking into like the old ways and things like that. It just spawned all of that. And I developed this deep wanting to know how things were before the interruption, before the white people came here, before all of that happened. It's just started all of that. And when I found an article online about this native elder had given uh, a comment to a reporter years ago, and it ended up online. And he said something about the old ways. And I was like, I need to talk to that guy. So I looked it up, and he actually had a landline phone number that was listed. And so I called him. I called him. His wife answered, and and through this whole process, I had been reading about the Anishinaabe and more about the old things, the old parts of the spirituality. And I was reading that the Anishinaabe believed that they were the caretakers of the earth, and they had these extra senses that could tell when things were out of balance, so that they could put it back, help to put the balance back. And I thought, well, maybe that's why I'm hearing the wolves, because I kept hearing wolves after that. I kept hearing them calling, howling. And I thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with the wolves. Maybe that's why I'm hearing them. I've always had these extra senses, and I didn't know where they came from. I didn't feel like I fit in with anybody because of them. And so then when I called the elder, I called him. His wife answered. He wasn't home. And she says, "Well, I'll have him call you back." And I says, "All right, well, I don't know if I'm calling the right guy. Maybe you could tell me." She goes, "Well, what do you want to know?" And I said, "I want to know about the old ways, about how things were before." And she said, "Oh, how did you find my husband's name?" And I said, "I found him in an article where he made a comment about the old ways in a newspaper a long time ago, and ended up online." And she's like, "Okay." And she said, well, I said, why is he not the right guy? She goes, no, he's the guy. He's the only guy. And I was like, okay, great. And then I had her on the phone. And so I'm just wondering if the wolves are okay. It was like pressing on me so hard. And I said, hey, are the wolves okay up there? And she's like, what? And I said, well, are they okay? And she's like, why are you asking me about the wolves? And I said, I realized, oh, I'm being weird. Don't be weird. And and I said, oh, never mind. It's just a silly question. I'm sorry. And she goes, no, tell me why you're asking me about the wolves. I said, no, it's no. And she's like, do you know my husband's Indian name? And I said, no. And she said, it's Gitchimaingen. And I told her I was hearing wolves. I was hearing wolves where there weren't any. And I just thought maybe there was something wrong. And she says, do you know my husband's Indian name? And I said, no, I don't. And she said, it's Gitchimaingen. And I go, okay. She goes, do you know what that means? I said, I don't. And she goes, it means the great wolf. He sent out a call. Apparently you've been hearing it. And as soon as he called me back, he said, I could hear you crying out there. How'd you get so far away from the water? And he had sent a call for me. I was hearing his howling for me to come back. And wow. I mean, it's such a bigger story than that, but that was my quick version of it. And I don't usually tell that story. So, but being this is a native program, you guys can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we sure do.
So
go ahead, sorry.
That's how I connected with him, and we became very close, and we talked on the phone a couple times a week, and then he had me come up and meet him in person, and he just for like 5 years, I went up there all the time. I had my own room in their house, and I would just sit on the living room floor and listen to every story, every teaching that he had to share, and I felt so blessed to learn from him, and every story that he shared with me, I just felt so blessed to be part of that. And I finally had somebody who I could talk to about these extra senses that I had that just blew wide open. I mean, I just let it happen. And he guided me through what I call my major spiritual awakening. And I don't think I would have made it without him, without his guidance, because it was so crazy the way my perception changed so fast and how it just came flooding into me. And if it wasn't for him being there, I would call him and I'd be like, this is what's happening. Am I okay? This just seems really wild and crazy to me. Am I okay? And he'd say, you're okay. Keep going. This is good. This is very good. And he coached me through all of that. And I just am so forever grateful to him. And everything that he taught me after that. He taught me what he called the bones of native medicine. And he explained that as how native medicine works to help the people, but he stripped it down without all the ceremony. Like, what does it do to support the person's growth and development? And what happens when that particular individual misses a stage of development? How does that look as far as dysfunction in the person's life and in their relationships and how they interact and perceive the reality around them? And then he was teaching me about how we could help these people to complete their stages of development later in life. And that is exactly what he did for me. I myself had missed a stage of development in my early childhood. And before he started teaching me this stuff, he was helping me to complete them without telling me that's what he was doing. But literally, I found myself saying to my then husband, you can't talk to me like that anymore because I'm a real person now. And it felt like I had not been a real person before. And I suddenly had become a real person. So skip ahead until I completed that. Now he's teaching me about the bones of native medicine and how to utilize that and telling me to mix that with the healing modalities I'm already doing and help the people out here off the reservation because this is too foreign for them. He says, but use this to help them. You mix it with what you're doing already and use it to help them. So that's what I've been doing. But when he started teaching me about the stages of development and forming a full identity, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what you did with me, isn't it? He's like, yeah. And I said, no, really, I was saying you can't talk to me like that anymore because I am a real person now. And it literally felt like I'd never been real before. It was so bizarre. And I often wonder, had somebody told me that prior to completing that stage, if I would have fully grasped that, because I don't think I would have known what it was like not to feel the way I had been feeling prior to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll move. We can move on.
Makes perfect sense. It's really good. You know, this is you can call it just a literal calling back to you know,
Yes.
the culture, and you know, it was really good. As for you, I think that's the first time I actually hear someone talk about actually wolves howling and crawling back like that. It's a really unique story, really unique experience right there. So as for that, how much do you think the average people miss these life experiences or life how would you say it? They missed
Stages of
parts
development.
that stages of development. What do you if you're going to see people nowadays and look at the actual environment now, what do you think people can learn from this? You know, do you think there'll be a great awakening out there?
I do think so. We talked about it often, and he said it to me like this. He said, you know, there's not enough human beings in the world, Jen. There's just not enough human beings in the world. There's so many human doings, and they have not completed their stages of development to become a human being. So they're just stuck doing, doing, doing. And it looks very obvious once you learn what it looks like. People who are have attachments or codependency in their relationships, they didn't fully form their own identity. So when they find someone to be with, they're not a full person. They're only half a person. And so when they find their other half and they clip on, it sounds so romantic. Oh, you've completed me. I just love you so much. I can't live without you. You've completed me. But then that's all fine and good and it's wonderful, right? But as soon as you get comfortable in that, one person gets more comfortable and they feel like they don't have to hold on so tight. The other person, because they're both in that situation, the one will sense the other one letting go their grip a little bit and they'll clench on harder, and it becomes more of a controlling relationship because they're afraid of losing that person. And it's such a deep-seated fear. They don't quite understand what it is, but what is really going on is they're afraid of losing this person because this person has become part of their identity. And that's why it hurts so much when you lose a relationship, is because they were part of you. They were part of your identity, or you thought they were. But that was never who you really are. So I always tell people, who are you? And the answer is not, I'm so-and-so's daughter, I'm so-and-so's girlfriend, I'm so-and-so's wife, I'm so-and-so's mother. It's not what you do for a living. It's not being a nurse. It's not being a teacher. It is, who are you without anyone else and without you doing anything? Who are you? And that's a hard question to answer when you're not there.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of people have missed the stages of development. The majority.
Well, it's you know, it's a sad fact, but you know, some people don't really fail to grow up. You know, as much. It's the funniest things about growing up is, you know, it's the body that seems to grow old. It's not the spirit. You know, as for I just had a talk with my nephew. You know, I was telling him, you know, you don't really grow up, man. You know, it's a hard. It's for me, I feel like a little kid, but my body just seemed to slowly deteriorate, and now I'm old. You know, like, when did that happen? It's a funny thing about the life is you kind of miss out sometimes, and you grow up. You know, so but it's unique. It's unique life experiences. You know, that's what living here is all about, and you know, spreading love. You know, I think people need to hear more positivity and, you know, encourage one another, and to, you know, allow people to help you. You know, when people ask for help, even if you don't ask for it, you know, people see it, and it's always good to suffer with someone else. You know, suffer with your friends, suffer with your family, and you know, that's the whole part of life is no one really knows what it's about, but it is about love. You know, that's all it is.
It is.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Oh, So this is my personal question on that whole thing you just unloaded on us, and I'm just like shooting off over there. Okay. So what are the signs that you have completed a stage? Is it through deja vu? Because I keep hearing people saying that you're on the right path, and then I see things happening a week, 3 days, 3 months, a year, and boom, like with my helper. I seen my helper before they hired him, like at least months before. The way he looks, tattoos, everything. I seen him already. So I was like, I already was expecting you, I already seen you. I already know how tall you were. All your tattoos I saw already. I was just wondering when they're gonna bring you. So, what are one of the signs that you complete a stage? And I
Well,
had another question too, but I forgot it somewhere. But go ahead, sorry.
okay. So what you just described to me was what my elder called following the blessings. And he always encouraged me to keep following the blessings, even after he wasn't walking with me anymore. He says he's always walking with me, but he wasn't when he completed everything that he had to share with me, he'd still be walking with me. But he said, you'll know which way to go, just follow the blessings. And I said, well, what do the blessings look like? And he says, you call them synchronicities, deja vus. Those are blessings. They're showing you that you're on the right path. You just keep going that way. And the more you go that way, the more those things show up to show you that you're on the right path. You're going the right way. So that to me isn't necessarily a stage of development, rather than it's all of your ancestors and all of your guides showing you you're on the right path. You're and good for you to be open to that information and letting that flow through, because a lot of people are closed up these days and they're not open to their other extrasensory awarenesses. And everybody has the ability to do those things. They're just not doing it. They're just not doing it. And
Right.
I learned the scientific way of explaining what happens in that sense of things. Like everybody is sensing all these things. The human brain is thinking at 400 billion bytes per second, but the average human is only consciously aware of 2,000 bytes per second out of the 400 billion that it's actually processing. That's almost nothing. We're almost completely consciously unaware of everything we're sensing. So all of that is in our subconscious awareness, and that's where our gut feelings will come from. That, oh, this person's giving me the creeps, but he looks okay. He's not doing or saying anything wrong, but I just got the heebie-jeebies. What's that going on? We all have those senses, and it's because it's coming up through our subconscious, giving us those warning bells. But what's true is that anybody can tap into that a little bit more and a little bit more, and it's like looking through binoculars and seeing, like, oh, I see the eagle there. I can see him really well. But that's all I can see is the eagle through the binoculars. That's all there is. No, it's not. I can turn my head and see something else just as clearly. And that's kind of what that's like when you move your conscious awareness to become aware of more of what you're already sensing. Everybody sees auras, which is the energy field that is emitted from the body. Everybody sees it in their subconscious awareness. Everybody is aware of what others are thinking and feeling. To some degree, you're sensing whether they have good or bad intentions. You're sensing that, and it's coming up through your gut feelings sometimes. So it's how open are you to that spiritual connection? When we talk about the medicine wheel representing each person, and so the right half of the medicine wheel is like the physical body. That's the knowing about your physical body, everything that is physical. And then it goes into your thoughts, your mental capacity, the thoughts that you're aware that you're having. And that's the male half of the body, those two things. But once you start going around that circle into the female half, because we're all half male and half female, coming from a man and a woman, a mother and a father, we go into that female half, which we go into the emotional quadrant, where that's the emotions that we're having, that we're aware that we're having. And the more we move through that quadrant into the fourth quadrant, of the medicine wheel, which is represented by spirit. And how do we define what spirit is? It's our awareness of our interconnection with all that is. It's how spiritual are we? How aware of that connection, that interconnection are we going to be? And so the more you move into that, the more you become aware of your own emotions and then also the emotions of others. You start to feel that and their own pain. And a lot of times men shy away from emotions. They don't want to feel that stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Women
I can tell. It's different. Like you stand next to somebody, you can just feel it off of them. But for me, it's my secret weapon. Like I meet somebody, I have no idea. I'm reading them. They have no idea. So I feel like, like, hey, this is just for my safety. But we're gonna interact. I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'll figure you out. I'll watch you and listen to you and just read you above all. But and oh my gosh, I had a question. It just escaped my mind. Oh geez, go ahead, Darren. Let me try to remember this. Go ahead if you have any questions, Darren. I had a good question. It just went, but okay.
Yeah,
go ahead, Darren.
I think the ideas of emotions, it's kind of not really talked about. Especially on the male side. You don't show nothing. You don't show emotions, and it's a taboo. I guess you would consider it's a taboo talking about emotions. Like how you feel. Like, oh. Well, why do you care? Like it's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird concept, but I think people always tend to, lead towards more music when it comes down to that. Oh, yeah. I think you got it. Okay. What's up there, man?
All right. So with the more you get in touch with your spirituality, the more you align everything, or like they would say, the chakras. So would it be possible for you to bring in ET and Sasquatch and all those other cryptids at the same time? Because that's where I feel like you're taking us next. So I'm like, is that where we're going next? But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, well, okay. So first I just want to touch on this a little bit. I want to touch on soul connections.
Okay.
And so that becomes something that I became very highly aware of. And people talk about soulmates and they think of this romantic, oh, it's going to be the love of my life, my soulmate. And that could be true, but there you have so many different versions of soulmates on the planet at the same time. And when you're with one and they recognize each other as being an extension of yourself in another body, which is what Jena is to me. She's definitely one of my soul mates. And when you're with someone who's also spiritually advanced, so to speak, or spiritually aware, when you're together, you feel stronger, you know more. You can do more. Your energy explodes larger. It like amplifies, especially when there's a pure love energy between the two of you, which we definitely have. We have that love for each other,
for sure. And respect.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And so like when we're together in the field, this is we're going to the Sasquatch now. We're going to answer your question. We were going this place that I've got behind me in the picture. This is where I saw my very first Bigfoot in the open in the daytime, standing right there in the open by the white pole, out in the open in the daytime. And Jena and I had gone to this property. We were scouting. We were on a scouting mission because we were planning to record film a new Searching for Sasquatch documentary with Jason Gansey in Minnesota, which is where I live. And we wanted to pick the locations that we had the best chances of capturing some evidence for the film, right? So Jena and I were on a mission to go out and select the locations we were going to do for the documentary. So we went to this property. It's near Black Duck, Minnesota, which is only 30 miles off of my reservation border. It's a 30-minute drive to my reservation from there. And this property is a private property. And I had met the guy elsewhere at one point and he'd wanted us to come out. So Jena and I were going there, and 45 minutes before we got there, we started doing Reiki in the car. Jena's a Reiki master as well. And so we start doing Reiki and we're amplifying the energy between us. And we just hyped it up just to see what would happen, right? When we got there, we get out of the car, we start walking down this power line corridor with the property owner and a guy who was there. He's also an author of a book about the property called Sasquatch Central. And the book is by Mike Quast. But he'd already written a book about this property because it's so active with Bigfoot. And so he's walking, he wants to be there to witness anything that happens while we're there. So he's just wanting to be there to witness it so he can write about it in the future. And so we're walking, and the property owner, his name is Randy. He's talking, and we're just walking down here. And my eyes go immediately to this very large, what looked to me like a Sasquatch standing out in the open during the daytime. And I'm just like, well, that sure does look like a Bigfoot right there. It wasn't moving. And I thought, well, that can't be a Bigfoot, because Randy would be saying, hey, look, there's a Bigfoot. And so I was just kept looking at it as we're walking towards it. And I'm like, that can't be it can't be. And so we got about 600 feet closer to it. Still standing there, still looking. I'm still assuming it's a dead tree. It was a dark brown reddish color, like an orangutan color. And also that could be the color of rotting wood, right? So
Yeah.
all of a sudden Randy takes us to turn into the woods to show us some stick structures that he felt were made by Bigfoot. And so we come out and he's showing us the hairs that are stuck to this one particular power pole. And we're looking at the hairs, and some of them had been collected and some of them had been left behind. And he sent them off to this genome study that's being done at the University of North Carolina by a man named Darby Orcutt. He's doing studies on DNA samples that people send in that are believed to be Bigfoot. So some of the hairs had been sent in, and now we're looking at the hairs because they're highly believed to be Bigfoot hairs. And as we're looking very closely at these hairs, my eyes went right down that way again, and all of a sudden the dead tree was gone. It was gone. And I don't know if you can see it on this, but there's a black thing that goes up this white pole.
Oh yeah.
And that black thing is 10 feet off the ground, and it was as tall as that. And
Wow.
I started going, oh my God, it's gone. And Jenna's just really focused in on the hairs. Jenna, you tell what happened.
I was still looking at the hairs because I found this was incredible, and I was taking my phone and I was making sure to get every angle of the hair. And all of a sudden I'm hearing Jen talk about, I saw this, what I thought was a stump. And I'm going, wait, what? I thought I saw something down there too. I thought I saw something. It was black and it was short, and it was on, I said, Jen, I said, oh my gosh, are you serious? What side did you see it on? And she said, I saw it on the left. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, I saw a short one on the right. I said, it was black. I said, what color was it? She was like, it was like a reddish brown. It was so exciting to think that we both had a sighting right there, especially after we were doing Reiki. Like Jen said, we amped up before we got out of the car, and boom, we were energetically just really loud. So the fact that we got to see that, I was so excited, Jen, when you said you saw something, because I literally kind of almost freaked out, because when you see something and you just think, oh well, it's in passing, it's a quick glance, but you're like, you question it. And yeah, when Jen started talking about it, I was like, yeah, we're amazing. We saw it.
And it was like it came out to look at us. It was like it came out and was just like, what's going on over there? That's what it felt like. It came out to look at us.
Right.
And yeah, so that was our very first sighting at that property. Both of us had saw one down here. She was looking to the right, I was looking to the left, and we both saw one that like captured our eye contact.
Different color, different sizes. So
yeah. So very cool. Very cool stuff.
For that, can you do the audience a favor and explain what Reiki is for the listeners that don't know what Reiki is? Please.
Reiki is a Japanese form of energy healing. And literally it anybody can learn how to do Reiki. I actually teach Reiki. It's very similar to the energy transfer that happens within like advanced native medicine. My elder was Medewan. He was the leader of the spiritual people from our tribe, the Grand Medicine Society. And we talked a lot about the energy. And there were things that he shared with me about energy, and I was sharing with him about Reiki energy. And really, Reiki means life force energy, or that which gives you life. And that Reiki energy flows through all living things. It's in everything. And to learn how to be a Reiki master is to learn how to take that energy into yourself, extra energy, and push that into another, to give them extra life energy, which will fill them up and push the negative energy out of them and not into you. It just goes back to the earth and to be, filtered and reutilized. But so that's a little bit different, because sometimes you hear with different forms of native medicine, they talk about sucking the energy, the sickness out of people, but you bringing it into yourself. That's very dangerous to do that kind of thing, because you can get sick from doing that if you're not
short
letting it go enough.
lifespan.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I was saying people that do that, they usually have short lifespan as well.
Yes, you can get, it's very hard to release that stuff. And so what there is a form of Reiki, there is a part of Reiki that you can do that. There is part of that can do that. But when I was learning Reiki, my Reiki teacher literally looked at me and said, "Don't you do that." Just specifically to me. And I didn't quite understand it for quite some time, why she said that to me. But I am a caretaker by nature. I honestly just do not take enough time for myself. I will put all of my into other people all the time and just not take time for myself. So if I was sucking sicknesses out of people, I would absolutely not take enough time to fully release it, and it would have been bad. So so she told me not to do that. And so, because you don't really have to, there is enough life energy from the earth, and so there's different ways to bring in life energy utilizing Reiki. And I'm very connected with the Earth Mother. That's my strong connection. And we all are connected with the Earth Mother energetically. We bring in the energy through the bottom of our left foot, and it flows through our body up and around it, and it flows back out through the bottom of our right foot. And we have this constant energy connection with the earth. It's beautiful. It's lovely. Whether you know it's happening or not, it is happening. And so when you talk about chakras are the energy hubs of the body. There's 7 main energy hubs of the body that when they're open and they're working right, they give off a color for those who can see energy as a colored light. And so when they're the right color, they're the color of the rainbow, the 7 colors of the rainbow, when they're open and functioning correctly. So chakras is very much, utilizing chakras and opening chakras and moving the energy through the body so that it's moving correctly. And the person is like a rechargeable battery. And where you're holding negative energy in the body is where sickness can start. And that's where it festers and can begin. And that's the part of the body that isn't taking a new charge of energy. So to give Reiki to somebody, you're pushing that energy into them. You're telling them to let go of their negative energy consciously, give it permission to go, let it flow out and away from you while you're accepting that charge, that new energy to fill you with the new life energy. And so that's what Reiki does. But in learning how to do Reiki, the original teaching of Reiki is you teach them how to do it and they're off on their own. Then Reiki becomes their teacher, and however far they take it is how far they take it. And so a lot of people just don't believe in themselves enough. They don't take it very far. And that's just what Reiki is to them. And I tell people Reiki masters are not all equal because of that, because they've limited it with their own belief of what it could do or what they could do with it. And so it was really hard for me to watch my students not go farther than that they could go. And I think it was because of my native elder mentoring me and holding my hand and walking with me through that journey of my own, that I felt like I had to do that for my students. So I expanded my Reiki program. And a lot of it is a lot of native stuff now too. There's a lot of the native teachings that he shared with me in there. I added so much to it that way, but now I added what I also call guided learning. So I help them guide through the process of experiencing things and understanding because there's an intuition that comes with it, to be guided by that energy. and to be connecting with your ancestors and your guides. That's part of it. To get that information, they help you. They tell you. What needs to be done. They'll help to guide you along the way. And so anybody can do this. They just have to learn how to reconnect with that and how to pull that energy in and be able to pull that out. Before I learned Reiki, I was a massage therapist, and Reiki masters were coming in asking me how long I'd been doing Reiki. And I'm like, I don't do Reiki. I don't know. But they could feel that I was giving them energy. And I didn't know this at the time, but I was what's called a natural born healer. It's in my blood. It's in my family. It passed down. And I was automatically giving energy to people as I was working on them without me being aware of it. I just wanted them to feel better. It was purely my intention. And through that process, I was giving them my own life energy. And they might come in with this bad hip pain and they would leave without it. But I'd now have that bad hip pain and I was suffering. I was sick all the time. I had migraines that would just knock me down for days. I had irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea all the time. I mean, I was always sick and I was always depleted. And as soon as I learned Reiki, that stopped. It all stopped. I don't get migraines anymore. And it was such a huge part of my life, but it was because I'm not giving my own life energy away anymore. I know how to bring in the extra energy because there's enough for everyone. There's enough for everything. You don't have to steal it. You don't have to give your own. You can bring in extra. The earth provides it. And so I hope that answers your question.
Oh yeah. For me, Reiki was just like, I don't know, like Darren and I will just go boom, and then but I was thinking something like that. I was like, what is Reiki? I never heard of that. But thank you very much for clearing the air.
Oh yeah, it's a good definition to clear the like you said, clear the air. I did watch the documentary. Whose idea was it again to actually use the location? Oh man, what for the life of me, I'm having brain farts right now. But you guys honed in on a Bigfoot, and you guys walked over there, and you guys were messing around with the flare. I think it was a flare camera.
Yeah. So I think you're asking about the Geographic remote viewing, where we're literally
yes. There you go.
So so what we're doing is it's remote viewing, but when other people talk about remote viewing, there's something called controlled remote viewing, which was actually developed by the government. You believe it or not, for gaining information. And they were working with psychics to see what was possible, and they developed what's called controlled remote viewing. And I met one of the ladies who was part of the initial parts of that and years ago, and she was telling me how they would ask her to go into an office and open the cabinet, open to a particular file. Now read the file. What does the file say? And literally she was able to do that, right? And so that was the kind of controlled remote viewing where they're giving you a target. They're giving you a target and telling you to go tell me what this is or tell me what that is. So, but
they did. I think they did make a movie about this. Was it The Men Who Stare at Goats or something with
that was a great movie, The Men Who Stare at Goats, but it was funny as heck. But I tell you what, it was a real thing. That really is true that they really did that. They really did that. So I mean, the way it seemed really out there, but they really did that, and that stuff is all really real. It really is real.
I believe it. I do believe that too.
I caught the guy that it was based on the movie that they said George Clooney was him. He was talking about it on Coast to Coast, which was pretty cool. The remote viewing is very real. We do have a remote viewer on our team as well, but a little bit different. We call them hand tremblers, so they're like psychic mediums and they're in between worlds. And I myself am like that too, but I'm still learning. I do receive messages and I do give messages, warning, and it's a long list. So okay, so being Indigenous, how do you guys go about investigating Sasquatch and other cryptid creatures, and what does your tribe say to you guys about it and about looking for things like that?
Okay, so I'm Indigenous. Jena is very Scandinavian.
I am. I am very like 97 point something Scandinavian.
I am also Scandinavian. I'm very mixed, but regardless, I am all of my ancestors, and they are all me. So that's just the way that it is. But
that's what's up.
when I just I would like to go back and just finish about the remote viewing really quick before I move on to that question, because I feel like we didn't answer your question before. So what we're doing is we call it geographic remote viewing, because we're actually looking at satellite imagery, and we're asking questions looking for something specific. Now, I used to use this looking for missing people and finding missing people that way and things like that. So I knew that I was very accurate. So when we started looking for Bigfoot, I thought, I wonder if we could use this in looking for Bigfoot. So I started to look at the satellite imagery, asking questions. Is Bigfoot here? Is there any Bigfoot evidence that we could collect here? Show me the Bigfoot. Show me the Bigfoot. And what I would see on the image would change. Sometimes I would see a Bigfoot appear. I would see a big face. Sometimes I would see like the demeanor of the Bigfoot. Like, was he a scary one, or was he nice? Was he waving at me? And I would see like a location. I would see areas light up a golden light and showing me that this is a spot that there's going to be stuff we're going to find. And so that's literally what we're doing when we're doing geographic remote viewing, and that allows us to drop a GPS pin on it and say, this is where it is. And then we go there.
And it's also really nice because Jen and I, she'll send me a location and I'll be able to say, oh yeah, I see this. And she'll be able to say, yeah, that's what I saw. I saw, a Bigfoot right across from our campground or our campsite. And so when things match up, it's really nice. It's a nice little hit.
Yeah. So we do that. I saw remote viewing is something that I was automatically doing. Like, I was doing it before with just looking at atlases and maps. And when satellite imagery came out online, I was just obsessed with that. And I love that so much more. When Jena and I started doing this, I did the remote viewing, and I found a spot where we went to, and Jena didn't really believe in it. Because I kept saying, well, there's going to be this. There's kind of an aggressive Bigfoot over here. We're not going to go that way. But over here, there's this Bigfoot evidence that's lighting up that we can go collect. And she's like, uh-huh.
So I trusted Jen. I just didn't trust the remote viewing process. So, I mean, I'd had faith in her, but at that point, I didn't realize that it actually was a thing. It worked.
Yeah. This is funny because when we first did that, and my whole idea was to find a spot that we could drive up close to, find a spot where Bigfoot is that is close to where we can drive to, jump out and go there really fast. Right. And, so that was my idea. And so we go to the place where I'm seeing this, right? And we get out of the car, I'm ready. And she's like, da, 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 da. And I was like, come on. And literally where I had said there was Bigfoot evidence this far from where we were parking the car, I'm like, it is within, 100 feet. It's within 100 feet that we're going to start seeing something. There is something there for sure. And we did a podcast. This was years ago, and I wish I knew which podcast it was, because I would love to go back and get a recording of Jena saying this. But she's like, it was like Jen knew there was something there. She walked right to it.
It was like she knew it was there.
And I'm like, duh, I was telling you it was there.
Lord.
It works.
It was a huge It was a huge structure it was a den-like structure that was made of many trees. It had 4 walls and a roof. It was huge. And these are being found on my reservation up there by the DNR, and they know who's making them, and they just back away.
Ooh.
So they just back away. And there was one that one of the elders' grandkids found, and they came home all excited about this cool fort that they found in the woods. And the grandfather's like, what? Wait a minute, what? Show me this fort. So that he walks out there with his granddaughters, who are like 9 years old, used to playing out in the woods, right? Back behind the house. He says there was these 2 trees pulled up out of the ground teepeed together with the roots in the air. And you walk underneath that and you keep going. And he said, then you came to this Hogan looking structure. And I said, well, what is that? He said, it's like a rectangle. It has a doorway, but no door. And the trees were stacked and then just weaved together really tightly. They were tightly weaved together. And he says, he goes, you go into it and it's all cleared out on the inside, very large rectangular structure. And there was a hole in the ground that went down underground into like an underground den. And the girls went down in there when they found it. And he was like, oh my God, they went. He looked down into that hole and he was like, you went in there? And he was so scared because he's like, even if whatever built that is no longer using it, something else could have moved in there. And he was scared that he almost lost his granddaughters that day, because going down in there, what could they have found or run into down there? So, these very traditional people, and I'm very traditional people teaching stories to the grandkids about, everything is your relative, the blades of grass, the trees, the rocks, the animals. You're never alone in the forest, even when there's no other humans, because you're surrounded by all your relatives. All of those native stories and all that traditional way of raising children to feel absolutely comfortable in their environment. And all of a sudden he's telling them, don't go out there anymore, stay away from that stuff. It completely changed, when he felt like, oh my gosh, we could have lost them to this, So I just wanted to touch on that part of the remote viewing, that's how we're using it. And that we can literally find GPS coordinates and be like, bam, it's right there. And so that's a little bit different. That I'm trying to remember what your question was now. What did the elders say? You said, okay, so when I first started, it was actually Lauren Coleman, the cryptozoologist who has the International Cryptozoology Museum in the state of Maine. He was the one who inspired us to go looking for Bigfoot. He thought women in the woods without men, dogs, or guns was going to be the recipe for success in getting close to and interacting with Bigfoot. He thought they would be interested in getting closer to check out some ladies in the forest. And that was, yes. And so he really encouraged me to get some ladies together and go out and do that. And I honestly didn't really believe in Bigfoot at the time. I had never thought about it long enough to even form an opinion about it. I just assumed it wasn't real. I'd never even thought about it. And so he kept assuring me that they were in my home state of Minnesota. I'm like, really? Because I grew up in the woods. I didn't see anything like that. And it got me curious enough to go try. I'm like, fine, okay, we'll go try. We'll do this. And so that's how it started. And then I started going and asking the elders from my reservation and from the next reservation and the other reservation over from that. I just went and talked to all the elders I could find that would talk to me about Gitchisabe or Bigfoot, and tell me information that they knew or that they had held about Bigfoot. And they were, some of them, don't want to talk about it. And then there are others that do. So, I mean, I felt very blessed that they shared what they knew with me. And they were saying that Bigfoot is our older brother. He's another, he is there. Bigfoot, yeah, big brother, Bigfoot. He represents honesty in the sacred teachings of our people, the 7 sacred teachings of the grandfathers. Each thing is represented by an animal that is known, and Bigfoot represents honesty. Love is represented by the eagle. Humility is represented by the wolf. So, and Bigfoot represents honesty. And I think that's just beautiful because he lives the most honest and pure life. But so, they gave me information about how Bigfoot travels. And they said things like Bigfoot can travel instantaneously from one place to another, physical travel through the ground. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so they're like running through a tunnel under the ground? No. And I, was asking questions like, what do you mean? They can move from one place to another through the ground. And the more they explained it, I'm like, are you talking about a portal? Yes. and so they were telling me these things. And so, I mean, I had gone and gathered all this information before we really went out and did a whole lot of looking. But one of the things I didn't know was that they were known for throwing rocks at people in the woods. I didn't know that until it started happening. And I was like, what's happening? Nothing's ever thrown rocks at me in the forest before. It wasn't like trying to hit us. It was obviously just lobbing them over and landing a few feet in front of us. It had very great aim. And they were
That's so funny.
but it was never closer than 3 feet, and they were just little stones, like the size of a silver dollar, little stone that you could hear it moving through the trees, and it would just like plop on the ground and bounce. And I'm like, what the heck is happening here? I didn't even know that they did that until after it happened to me. And I was like, what's happening? But then I found out later that they were known for doing that. So it's been quite a learning process through experiencing and gathering information from the elders and from other witnesses and getting out there and experiencing it for ourselves. And that's really the kicker. You have to experience it for yourself. Jena was not a believer. She was not a believer.
Oh no, I was such a skeptic for, I don't know, years, Jen. Every time we'd find evidence, I'd be like, yeah, I just don't know. Because it didn't click with me. It was like, I didn't see enough. And unless you see something with your own eyes, there's just not a possibility in your mind. You think, maybe you're questioning, but boy, oh boy, was I wrong.
It was so annoying. No. I'm like, Jena, how can you say that when we found these footprints, this footprint track? How can you say that? And she's like, well, and I was like, oh, it's so annoying.
Yeah. And I was all like flesh and blood. I was like, no, I'm flesh and blood. And it's gotta be, I had so many big ideas in the beginning because I didn't know anything about Bigfoot either. I really didn't. I didn't know anything. The most I knew was, about the film, the California film. So
Patterson-Gimlin.
Yes.
For Jena, when was the day and the hour? When was the minute when you actually like, oh, like he's real? This is real. What moment in your research led you to that?
I have to tell you, I didn't think any of it was real, but when we found that trackway and Jen and I had stayed behind while some other gals went to get some shovels and some different things for retrieving the casting, we were sitting down and I was looking through a thermal. It was it the FLIR, Jen?
I think
it was a monocular.
It was I had a monocular and you had a unocular. We both had a brand new piece of night vision equipment.
Yeah, we did. So anyway, I was sitting there and I was looking through this machine, and all of a sudden I saw this thing that looked like a little gnome. And I was like, I literally said out loud, because I thought it was pareidolia. I said, oh my gosh, it looks like a little gnome. And all of a sudden it was looking this way, and all of a sudden it went and looked right at me, and my heart fell in my stomach. And I realized at that time that these stories may not just be stories, that if this could exist, it could possibly be Bigfoot could exist, and a lot of other things could exist, because seeing that, who goes out thinking they're going to see a gnome? I mean, that's a fairy tale creature. That was like an eye-opening thing, and that was just opening my mind to the fact that this could be a thing, and I can't wait to learn more. That was the big experience that really.
Wow, you are very lucky right there. You are so lucky. Not many people get to see a duende, a gnome. Wow, on the Navajo Nation, we see all kinds of them, different looking. They're dressed in their own way, so different shapes and sizes. Yes. So that's very awesome.
Yeah, this was about 3 feet tall. It had the gnome hat. It was just literally, I thought it was pareidolia. Oh. Yeah, it was just so strange. Whew, I still think about it.
I think that just kind of gave me chills right there, just hearing that. Like, so I had the whole beard and the nose and all that. Just
that's why I thought it couldn't until it looked at me. Like, literally, you think that pareidolia, you learn about pareidolia, your mind tries to make sense of things that are chaos. So that's what I was thinking. And when it literally looked right at my eyes, I was like, everything changed. My heart went in my stomach. And I told Jen, I was like, and she goes, yeah, I know, I saw little people over here too. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a new world for me.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
goodness.
like how you explained just Jen's like, oh yeah, I seen it just over there too. So it's like, see,
Yeah.
I told you, it's
I
kind of
like
hard to
that.
explain it
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
when
mean,
you
at the time, I mean, I had seen ghosts and the paranormal, but never had I ever even expected that these fairy tale creatures could be real.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
are real.
Yeah.
There's different
are.
kinds.
They
There's
are.
different
They
kinds
are.
too.
They are. My uncle seen the gnome looking one on the Navajo Nation, and there's like I was saying, there's many different kind, and they're very real. They are
Mhm.
very, very real, and once you see them, you're very lucky. I seen
Yep.
Sasquatch and Goatman, but I have yet to see a little mystical being. That'd be nice though.
Oh,
Wait,
did
actually,
you?
when I was a child, when my grandmother passed away, I got up
Sorry.
like in the middle of the night, and I think it was a nightmare. And I was looking around, and I seen a little tiny figure of a being. Like the best way I can describe it is kind of looked like Peter Pan with the weird hat, and his ear was sharp, and he was hiding underneath the table, and he ran behind the door to the kitchen that goes out to the back door. And um I never said anything to anybody because I wasn't sure, was I sick, having a nightmare, am I hallucinating?
Are
I was
you
like
nuts?
6 7 years old. Yeah, I was only 6. Everyone was crying in the bedroom because we were dealing with so much at that time, so I think it's a correlation, maybe, possibly. But before we go to the comments, I see the comment, we got everyone, they have some good questions, but before we go to the comment section, Darren, do you have any questions for Jenna and Jen?
Oh yeah, for this gnome. Did you see the color of the hat by chance?
No, this monocular, it was black and white. It wasn't a thermal, I'm sorry. It was black and white. So I didn't see any color. I wish I would have. But at this time, I don't even know if I would remember because of the shock. It was like a shock.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish I would have
Yeah.
seen color.
I'm going to add to
Yeah.
that after she saw that gnome, there was a gnome connection for her after that followed her across the United States. She started
Oh,
seeing gnomes in Texas, and she was like, "Jen, I'm seeing a gnome. I'm seeing a gnome." And I'm like, she was, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Ask him a question."
Yeah. It shocked me because when I did start talking to him, what was it, Jen, that I said? I said something about the way he looked.
Yeah, he looked crabby.
Yeah. And then he
looked
showed me
moody.
yeah, that's what it was. It was like, oh, he looked moody. And then all of a sudden he showed me a picture of myself, like, oh yeah. And I was like, whoa, like he showed me a mirror to just look at myself. Don't judge. It was so scary. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear about these gnomes too. One thing I was told is actually warned. Like they'll give, if you give them something, they'll give it like 10 times back. But if you if you break that chain, they'll most likely turn against you. And be very cautious about these little people. They're very tricksters. Some of them are not. We have a bunch of them on our podcast too. These little people. Personally, I've seen one. Done. They're tricksters. They're trickster spirit, but they're known all over. Native American land. Everybody has stories of the little people. So, as for these gnomes, man, it gave me the chills right there. So, this gnome, did it have, what was the voice like? It sound like an old man, or
It didn't speak. That's the thing. Like I said, it happened so fast. I was literally looking at it and thought it was pareidolia. It looked at me and the camera went down and I turned to Jen. So I wish I would have heard it speak. I wish when psychically, when I was communicating with it, it didn't have a voice. It was all thought, visual. Yes. So it was, yeah, I wish I should start asking. Yeah. But like Jen said, there is a big connection. My family have been farmers, and gnomes have been known to follow the farmers.
Attached to farming families.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Huh.
Yeah.
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 Oh, that's a new one right there.
Yeah. So the gnomes, that particular type of little people, is believed to have come over with the settlers who were Scandinavian farmers. And they would attach to the family, and they came over with them. So that's where they believe gnomes came to this land. So I've seen the gnome that comes with her, and the way that it communicates is through like visions, like little you'll see things in your head. It doesn't actually speak words, but it shows you pictures in your head as an answer to the question that you ask. And a lot of them do that. That's a lot of the times how I receive information, is not always through a voice. Like sometimes I'll hear a voice like, I don't like to open my mail. I hate paper. Um, but I got a voice in my head the other day, was like, open your mail, and I'm like, what? No. And and it was like, open that piece of mail right there, and it looked like junk mail. And here it was, something about missing money that was found that was mine, and I never would have opened it had I not been being told to open that piece of mail right there, that I was just going to toss it because it looked like junk mail. So, but
That's awesome right there.
most of the time, it's going to come through as visions of, like I'll have native elders, like from really old native people, that showed me that they lived in teepees and in wigwams, and they showed me the villages that they came from, and they were wearing hides and had bones and teeth on them, um and they showed me that they were going to their descendants, searching for people that could hear them, because it used to be very common for the people to hear their ancestors, and now they're struggling for their descendants to hear them. And that was one of the things they were showing to me, was that they were struggling to communicate with their descendants, and they're like feeling confused about that.
Jen, why do you think that is? Why do you think it's so hard for the generation now to not hear the voices, hear their people, what do you think that is?
I think there's quite a few answers to that question, and I think they could all be true. But I think part of it is that we've gotten so distracted from the natural world, from our natural connection and interconnection with all that is. We see ourselves as very disconnected. We've become very disconnected. We're the only thing on this planet that doesn't fit in. We're the only thing on this planet that acts like a cancer to the planet. Everything else lives in its environment and is part of the environment. It's a give and take. Or humans are just take, and destroy, right? Am I right? I mean, that's kind of how we've been living. We've been acting like a cancer on the planet. That's a very disconnected thing, a living thing we're part of this giant living being that is the planet, that is the earth, and we're all part of it. And we're acting as if we're not part of it, that it's separate than us, that we're above it in some way, and we're not. We're part of it. We're part of that nature. And humans see themselves as something separate from that. So I think that's part of the idea that's created this division between us and our awareness. And the more that we reconnect with nature, we reconnect with our mother, the earth, which she is a sentient being. She's not just a dead planet that we live on. She's a sentient and aware being. And I don't think people understand that. I experienced her. She's beautiful. Her love is so pure and so amazing. And what's when I was named in ceremony, my elder said my grandmother came to him and said she wanted me to have all of her names. And I had a list of her names. There was a lot of them. And I received all of them in ceremony. She wanted me to have all of them. He said in my family, the names were passed down every other generation to remember who the ancestors were. So everybody would receive a name of their grandparent, but they had to fit the name to get it. But I got all of her names, all of them. There was a lot. But he couldn't translate them for me because some of them were so old that he couldn't translate them for me. So I received the names, but I didn't even know what they all meant. I knew what some of them meant, but I didn't know what they all meant. And it wasn't until after I started having experiences with connecting to the Earth Mother and being aware of her perception of things, and it was after that a very old elder, a native man who could read the words, and he said that the first speakers of the Ojibwe language, they never really learned to read it as words. And he says they're sounds to them. So he could read it into sounds. He could say it to this old woman, and she could translate it. And so one of the names that I received was literally translated as female spirit who shouts out, calls out, yells out from the heart of the earth, the very core where it is hot and molten. And so that's one of my names. And,
Wow.
shorten that up,
Well,
and that I'm speaking for her, and because she's calling out, she's calling out.
Yeah.
And I got off track. I'm sorry.
Oh,
No,
you're good. You're
It
good.
happens.
Very good.
It happens.
People, people just really need to realize, how would you call it, the divine feminine, the carer, the life bringer, and for the Navajos out here, the woman is more of the hierarch. They sit on the top and they govern. They govern the household. And what a better place, to have a wife, or a lady around you, because there's a lot of love that they can give, and as for you two, just hearing your words it makes my heart, makes my mind think, which is really good. And it's really, conversation like this are not really happen, nowadays. And it's really good to hear this. It's good for the earth. It's good for the people out there who are listening to understand what the struggles and the fight that people, women more or less, go through. For you two to speak up and have your own words, have your own personalities, and it's really spread. It's really fruitful. It's really fruitful to hear you guys, and you guys bring a lot of energy to the table. And as for me, I'm kind of bland right now too, so it brings a smile on my face to hear you guys and have you guys on the podcast. Right now it's pretty late on your side too, so that's another plus, I think. So thank you. I think there's a lot of stuff we can learn from you guys.
Yeah,
and you guys are above the game. So thank you.
I'll piggyback off of Darren. But actually not piggyback off him, but I'll take us back to the structures. You said you found a Hogan type of structure, and I've chat with a few people that shared with me a long time ago. Back in the day, the Navajo and the Sasquatch used to meet. I believe once a year. They would go up into the mountains, and Sasquatch and his group, their families, would be walking down from the top of the mountains with huge giant timbers. They're all coming down with the timbers, and they would set up a gigantic hogan. And when they're done setting up the giant hogan, the 9 pillars, female hogan, because 9 pillars, 9 months, she's pregnant. So each of those pillars, those Sasquatch would sit there at the pillars and just be quiet and watch and make little noises here and there just to communicate with the human beings there. They're offering them food and water, and they're just taking it and just watching the humans do ceremonies with them. Sasquatch is known as a medicine man as well, and he knows where all the herbs are to help us out. And when we used to get sick in the children, he would take one of the children and bring them back okay within a day or two. And he would take the next 6 sick children and then bring them back again when they're well. So that's a correlation right there. And it's a very great correlation, so that's the very first time hearing somebody outside the Navajo tribe say that they seen a Hogan type structure, and that's legit. That's very legit. And do you guys want to say anything before we go to the comment section?
We just got back from expedition. We were on expedition in Texas with
Yeah,
Jason
we were.
Kinsey. Yes.
It was
And
good.
we have an agreement with Jason. We've filmed quite a few documentaries with him. And our agreement is that when we find something and we get evidence of something, we don't go online and share that evidence until the documentary comes out, because otherwise, why would anybody watch it, right? If we were already like flooded the internet with everything. But we had something happen during this expedition that is probably the best evidence that we've gotten on camera, 3 separate cameras at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And we can't share it till the documentary comes out. But I asked Jason, because normally his documentaries come out a year after we filmed it. And I after this particular expedition, and literally I was with Jason and Jena this morning when she dropped me off at the airport. Jason and I both left today to go to our homes. He lives in British Columbia, Canada. And I said, Jason, are you going to work on this and finish it in a year? Or are you going to go home and put this one together right away? He goes, yeah, I'm putting this one to the front.
Nice.
You any idea what's going? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
We were in a forest where there are a lot of wild hogs. And those can be very dangerous in Texas, those wild hogs. Oh. And so we have to be careful. And, Jena and I don't carry weapons or anything like that. That's kind of, we're against that. But the guys that were on this expedition were carrying weapons because of the wild hogs can be very dangerous. So there was one, we were doing remote viewing in the woods because we actually had service there. So I was able to remote view, and we found, I was seeing this, what I call the triangle of energy. And I said, there's a weird triangle of energy right here. So I dropped a pin on it and we walked to it. And the guys that were with us who had never experienced this kind of thing before were like, what? And Jena and I started feeling the energy of the place as we were approaching it. Like our goosebumps were going everywhere. Hair was standing straight up. The energy was just flowing through me. How did you experience that, Jena?
Oh, exactly the same. Mine usually starts from my legs, and then all of a sudden it goes whoo, and it goes all the way up. But it usually starts at the legs. My legs were wildly excited. So yeah, I felt it completely. I was so excited to be there. And
yeah. And so we get there, and the guys who were with us, one of them was like, I feel it. He was feeling the same thing. And so that made them more of believers, because they were physically feeling the energy that we were feeling as well, as we were getting close to this triangle of energy. And when I often will see triangles of energy in the forest, and it literally looks like a triangle to me. And I'm like, there's your Bermuda Triangle right there. That's what I just call it that. That's weird stuff is going to happen right there. And the energy just looks different. When I first found it on there, I'm like, look, Jena. And she's like, oh my gosh, she saw it too. Like, it's so obvious to us. But so we get over there, and Jason was just flabbergasted because we found a structure that was a triangle.
Wow.
That was clearly put together that way. It couldn't have fallen. Wow. So he was just like, that was amazing. But then another night that we were there, Jena and I had gone to bed because we weren't feeling, we had ate something wasn't agreeing with us. And so we were laying in our tent, and the guys were out doing stuff in the area. And I was hearing stuff outside the tent, and I was like, I think there's something out there. And then I eventually heard Jason come back into camp, and I knew it was him because I heard him cough. He had this little cough going on, and I'm like, oh, that's Jason. And then all of a sudden I heard this squealing, like just screaming. And I'm like, Jena, because she was sleeping.
Well, I woke up to it. I woke up to the noise. I was up when you said my name. I didn't know if we could talk about that or not.
Okay. Are we not supposed to talk about it?
We won't tell anyone.
You gotta, it's best to leave a little bit of meat for the audience.
We'll just say that something was happening out there that was very loud, and Jason got to see it in live and in person.
Oh no.
And the other guys that were there had 3 cameras on him and got Jason with it in the same shot.
Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
will tell you, what they have on camera is really, really eye-opening as far as how quickly they move.
And how big.
Mhm.
And how big, how
Oh,
quickly they move.
yeah.
A matter of
Yeah.
faster than light. You just have to see it.
Yeah.
And but it was
Uh-huh.
the sound that
Oh.
woke Jenna up. It was scary. It was a scary. And as soon as it stopped, I said, "Jason," because I knew he was outside of our tent because I heard him cough early. I'm like, "Jason." He's like, "Shh."
Yeah, he came to the tent and he was like, "What?" And then all of a sudden we heard him say, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh." You know, and he didn't say, "Oh my gosh." You know what he said? He said, "Oh my gosh." And then he was like, "Shh." And then we were like, and I was stumbling. I was trying to find my shoes and I was trying to find my car keys. And, you know, we wanted to get all these things. Oh my gosh. So
It was amazing. It's going to be an epic show. I'm just going to say that. And I know that he's going home. He gets home today and I'm sure he's going to start on it right away. So it shouldn't be too long before it comes out.
I'm so going
awesome.
back soon. I'm so going back to that site soon.
Do you know the name of the documentary yet or not yet?
We were talking about, well, it's going to be Searching for Sasquatch. And then I don't know, we were talking about what we should name it. Ultimately, he'll come up with a name, but we are not sure. It's going to be a Searching for Sasquatch, and then it'll have another name. Like, you know, we have Searching for Sasquatch, She Squatchers documentary, Searching for Sasquatch, The Minnesota Roars, Searching for Sasquatch, They Feast in the Shadows. You know, there's a whole bunch of them. So it'll be Searching for Sasquatch something, Texas, or Lone Star something.
I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it in an entirety because the experience itself was exceptional.
Oh, nice. Let me okay guys, we're gonna read the comment section because we abandon them. Usually we get them involved, but we just let you guys cook. So it's good though, it's all good. Thank you for joining the family here at Don't Whistle at Night podcast. Thank you guys. Okay, we got Crazy Coyote. He says just got done watching the hoop dance competition.
Nice.
Crazy. AZ Lyman, good evening, brothers. Will you be my Valentine? Yes or no? Squatchers, yay! You guys are here. Lovely. Crazy Coyote, happy be late Valentine's Day, pink Halloween for single people. Javon Koshiel. Good evening, everyone. Excited for this episode. Hey, Javon, I hope you enjoyed it so far. We are enjoying it, Darren and I already. Crazy Coyote 1313. Oh, I just remembered there's a special type of walking called ghost walking. Russian ballet perform. It's almost like the way Bigfoot walks. Oh, man, you gotta check that out. Hey, the Cedric Willie. Good evening, Don, Darren, guest and chat. What's up, Lee? Carla Washington. Hello, Don and Darren. How was your Valentine's Day? It was good. How about you, Darren?
Another day.
It is what it is. Care Bear 9. Hello. Happy belated Valentine's Day. And hello there, lovely guest speakers.
Yep.
Oh, that's nice. Says hello, Jen Cruz, Don, Darren, and Jenna. Caveman here listening. It's Randy Caveman Yowzy. BCast has a question. What tribes are you from? If you can.
I'm enrolled at the Red Lake Band of Chippewa from northern Minnesota. However, my ancestry is also, I'm descended from Dakota Chief Wabasha, who mixed with the Ojibwe. And because of the names in our family, it could also identify Omashkego, which is Swampy Cree.
Lovely.
Yeah. So, and Jenna is not non-native. So,
although I wish I was, the appreciation and life appreciation is in my heart. So.
Oh, you're native already to us.
Thank you.
You're already native to us.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Back in the day, the Vikings, when they came, they took some of the women back with them. So I know somewhere down the line, lines intertwine.
There you
So
I
go.
we have
hope
more
so.
ancestors. Oh yeah. We have more ancestors than people currently alive today. So just think about that. There's a lot of people. Um, and we got a 3 comment here from Miss Carbear. She says, "Wow, you had an amazing mentor. I didn't know there were stages in development and symptoms or indicators if you didn't properly achieve these steps. That's probably why I can't get over my younger self." And then she says, "I know there." And she says, "Sorry, I know that I still have trauma from my childhood stages. I know that the roles of me as a child switched to being the parent to my mom at a young age." Oh man, that sounds like a lot of us right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Whew, yeah. So yeah, we all. I always say that I can relate to her. We all didn't grow up in the best situation, but how I take it is my son. When he was born, he's actually helped raising me, like the childhood I never had. So I'm living through him and he's healing me. So he doesn't know he's working on me and just watching him, like, okay, this is it. This is parenthood, you know? So, yeah, what do you have to say about her, about the stages and about past traumas on that question?
So I think a lot of that goes with soul retrieval too, like the little child that we have that was harmed when we were little children. That child breaks off from us and stays a little child within ourselves. And one of the things that my elder and I did for my little child inside of myself was I had to create an altar for her and tell her that I am, even though she was alone, I am now here for her. And I embraced that part of myself and did that soul retrieval of her and embraced her into myself and integrated her. And literally, I mean, that can look like I literally saw myself in the mirror with a big fat lip, pouting and starting to cry, feeling very much like a little girl. And I put my arms around myself and I'm like, I'm here with you. It's okay. I'm here. And I became that mother figure to that little girl within myself and embraced her. And he said to make an altar for her inside of my home and to give her that space to be okay and to say, I am here for you. I'm here to protect you and you can come out now. You can be part of us. You can be part of me. And you don't have to be separate anymore because they like break off. That little part of us breaks off into it's into a different part of yourself and just never grows up and is always that hurt little child. And so when we start to feel those things from the past again, that part of us comes up and awakens and we can heal that part of ourselves. We can do that. It's up to us. And what happened to us in the past is not no longer the present. We can fix that. We can heal that and become better because of it. I always say the bad things that happened to me, and there were quite a few things. The bad things that happened to me, I developed an appreciation for them because of those things, because I've healed those parts of myself, I know what it's like to be suffering like that and how to connect with people who are still suffering and help them by sharing how I went through it and how I healed that part of myself. And my elder always used to say, I know this is hard for you, but because it's hard for you, it's going to be easier for everybody else. Just keep going. Just keep going. It's going to be easier for everybody else. And that gave, I didn't know. I always used to say, what does that mean? It was so frustrating because that's all he would say. And I was like, what does that mean? And I didn't understand it until much, much later. And then it just became obvious that because I had suffered and because I healed that, so I went through that and I pushed up against it instead of retreating away from it. When you feel those old things, you retreat away from it, it becomes your trigger and you feel like you're stuck to it. This is just who you are. It's part of who you are. It is not who you are. It is not part of your identity. You are not a victim. You are a survivor. And you can come through that on the other side stronger than you've ever been. And you can help the other people who are still suffering once you've gone through that.
Well, it is a great question, or that is the truth right there. We all need to hear stuff that that weren't told to us or shared with us. You know, a lot of us coming from the reservation are usually not being fed the right words, correct words. You
Mike,
know, and appreciate that.
the mission
Go ahead.
schools, the trauma, the historical trauma that happened as a result of the mission schools was just
Mhm.
awful,
Yeah.
really. My grandfather was raised in the mission school, and he escaped when he was 16 years old. He escaped and he ran, and he found his older sister, and she hid him. They came look, and she hid him, and so he didn't have to go back, but he was 16, and they had been beating him and his friend, and the friend fell on the ground and was dead. And that's when he fought back, because he's like, they're going to kill me too. And I mean, it was a really awful thing, but my family didn't know this because he didn't share it. He only told a couple of people that were men in the family. He told them when they were older, so it didn't affect them. And when I found out that he was raised in that school and what happened to him, I went and told my mom, and my mom's like, "No, he didn't. He did not." I'm like, "Yeah, he did, Mom." She's like, "No, he did." I said, "Yes," and she's like, "No, that didn't." I said, "Yes, Mom," and she said, "Well, who told you that?" And I said, "Great Aunt Virgie told me that." She's like, "What?" And so then my mom and I went to their house, and she wanted to hear what they knew and what he had told them. And, she's like, "Why didn't he tell us this?" And the answer was, he said, "They broke me enough. They didn't need to break you too." So he felt that by sharing that when the family was young, it was because you hear a lot of, "This is what they did to us. This is what they did to us." But really, it's what they did to him. It didn't actually happen to you. It's what happened to your grandfather or to your
Mhm.
uncle, or it didn't happen to you, but by saying it that way, you're passing it on to them. This is what happened to us. But, I wasn't physically a child in that school. I
Mhm.
wasn't physically there. But with the effects of that trauma that are passed down in the families. Like, they were giving whiskey to children then when they would cry because they took them from their families. I talked to elders who told me that the nuns gave them whiskey when they were crying because they missed their family. They'd, "Here, drink this, stop crying." And they started drinking whiskey at the age of 9, and they were taught to drink it when they were sad to make them stop crying. I'm like, so this raging alcoholism that has become an epidemic is not their fault. They were taught this. And I said, how many of those children grew up thinking, how do you know how to be a parent is how you were parented? How many of those children grew up and started giving alcohol to their children when they cried because that's just what you do, and they never knew anything different? And I said that to a man from the reservation, from the one next to where I come from. I said that to a man who was my age, and he just got this distant look on his face. I said, "Where did you go?" And he said, "My mom used to put alcohol in my bottle when I was crying." And he never thought of that until I said that to him. He never occurred to him that she did that. He never even thought about it, that was odd. And it was a memory that he had when I said that to him. So it was something that can be passed on that they never realized was not okay, that shouldn't have been happening, because that's what was done for them. That's how they were raised in that school. So all this historical trauma, even though it didn't physically happen to me, I wasn't there, but it could be passed down in the family because, the abuse that happened there is a learned behavior that gets passed on. The historical trauma is the cycles that were started at that time that were originally part of the people. That wasn't who we were as a people, right? That wasn't part of it. It was something that was put on
Mhm.
the people, right? So
Yeah.
all of that is historical trauma, and that can be healed in the right now. We can address those things right now, and we can heal that in ourselves. And as we do that, it ripples out. And the ancestors who have gone on ahead of us, they are smiling every time we beat something. They are just like, yeah, they're on our side. They want that for us. I'm getting chills just talking about it. They want that for us. They want us to. That's not how the people originally were, and they want us to
Mhm.
beat that. So I'm
Definitely.
sorry, got on my soapbox.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. Born in '88, so a lot of my classmates had the same thing, putting alcohol in their body, and I had my first drink of alcohol I don't even know how old I was because everyone was, partying and whatnot. And I came by and, like, oh, this is not good. Same thing with my wife, so it goes on. And that is very true. And how we should move on, is like try not to pass it on, let alone we have an angry parent that we grew up in, had to suffer from their decisions, and we had to just go along with it, and now growing up or now I'm grown and I choose to listen to the children more than their parent, but I want to hear what he says, not you, or what they say, how they feel, not you or them. I want to hear the child speak, because no one listened to us when we were children. That's why. But let's read these questions right here. We're running out of time, guys. It has been lovely so far. Thank you. Mr. Joe Fox says hello, guys. Anthony Mr. Anthony says hello, paranormal people. What's up, Mr. Anthony? Stoic Mr. Stoic says hello, everybody. Wow, that story is a beautiful one of being called back to speak in mentorship. What a great blessing, and thank you for sharing that, Jen. Thank you, Don, Darren, Jenna, and Jen. Oh, thank you, Stoic. Little Wolf C13. Hi, Don and Darren. What's up, Little Wolf? You got TikTok joining YouTube. Cedric Willie. Hey, Don, you're my soulmate. Hey, hell yeah, brother. Right there, fist dad, right there. Crazy Coyote. Question: is it possible for someone to be a complete psychotic blink? Like you cannot read these minds, spirit, and soul, like they aren't dead, just picking up a TV show inside their mind. Like when is there someone like unreadable? I think he's asking.
Is there so somebody who's unreadable? I mean, people can put up a wall. Definitely they can block you. They definitely can. People but you know, for the most part, people are hiding their goodness inside, and they're showing their bad on the outside, and they don't even know it. They tell on themselves so much, and once you see it, it's hard to unsee it. But for the most part, I always tell people who are like scared. I've had people who are scared to have me touch them for what I might know. And I'm like, I never feel that way, because I do these videos online where I'm trying to encourage people to see what becomes possible with their own awareness and their own senses. So I'll do like a video of just my eye contact for people to look into me and to connect with my energy, and see if they can sense anything, and to open their awareness just to see what else is possible for their own senses. And in doing that, people are like, aren't you scared that people are going to like know about you? I'm like, if people are good enough to see whatever's I've got, they're good enough not to care. Because I'm good enough to see stuff in people, and what I want to see is the good. Show me the good stuff. I'm digging for it. Let's bring that out, because everybody's suffering from something. Everybody's done stuff that they regret. That's not what I don't care to know about that stuff. That's gossipy stuff. I want to see the good stuff. Let's bring that out. That's the stuff I'm looking for.
And I do think that sometimes people don't feel like they deserve love. And with what Jen's saying, this is, you want to make that eye contact. You want to see that love. You want to pull it out. So even I'm a hugger. So when I meet someone who, I can tell is very standoffish, I like to hug them. Of course I ask, but you can feel their body just accept the love. And it's the most beautiful feeling.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And we're all about that. We are all about that. The helping other people to feel. I know. One thing that'll happen to a natural born healer that a lot of people may not understand, and people who are out in public with me just have to get used to this. Sometimes a stranger will come up, just stand next to me at Walmart and just say, they'll confess something to me. Just turn to me and say something like, I did this, and maybe it's a crime or whatever. And then they go, oh, I have no idea why I just told you that. And I'm like, I understand. It's okay. And then I say, I can forgive you for that. And they're just like, what? And, a complete stranger. And they've just told me this awful thing they did. And I say, it's okay. I can forgive you for that. I understand what's happening here. And I may give them a little loving pat on the arm, and I'll be like, it's okay. I forgive you. It's forgivable. And I'll walk away. so that they know that I didn't tell them who I am. They didn't tell me who they are. They have nothing to fear from me. But what just happened there is their knowing inside sensed that I was a healer, okay, and that I was the safe person to tell the thing that they are scared to tell anybody else, the thing that they feel like they are unforgivable for, so they hold themselves accountable as unforgivable. So they just told me, a stranger who should be like, oh, that's awful that you did that, and judge them. But instead I said, I forgive you, and I truly do. I forgive them for what they did. And in that process, they learn that they are forgivable and they can forgive themselves. And that's a healing in itself. And that's what happens to natural born healers a lot. People will just come up and confess to you things that they've done or that they're holding inside that they don't dare tell anybody else. So if you experience that, you may be a natural born healer and you should develop that. Just saying.
Yes. My mom used to call it being a beacon, because people would come up to her too. And, people in our family, they'd just come up, and they would everything from, I want to commit suicide, to my friend burned up in a fire and I'm sick, and to be able to help them in some way. The fact that they're coming to us as complete strangers is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful situation. And to be able to heal them just through acknowledgement is amazing.
Yes. Sure is. Appreciate your work, guys. Appreciate it. Let's take it to the comments. We're running 1 hour and 45 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun, right? Avery Tafoya, he says, good evening. Good evening, Avery. Heidi Gold, good evening, Don, Darren, Jena, and Jen. Much love from Boulder, Colorado. Hey, Heidi. Thank you for joining us. Lysidic Willie, he says, hey, Darren, my son says you look like a bear. A Care Bear.
Aww, that's so cute.
Quindin Task, I can't even say the full name, says, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Quint. I know Quint. Hi, Quint.
Oh, awesome. He says, Jen, great information.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And Heidi Gold. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Heidi. She's heart, hands up, and stars. Awesome. Randy says, hello, Avery. Okay. Oh, hey, Maddie. Hello, everyone.
What's up, Maddie?
TikTok right there, spilling into YouTube. Awesome. Crazy Coyote, remote viewing is the core of Indy Jones 4 and Stranger Things. Men who stare at Goat Project, Star Wars. Oh yeah, and especially Lysidic Willie. he knows how to block himself from people from reading him. So that's one of the can of worms I thought I'd throw in there. And Z Sun Dragon, what's up? He says, hi all. Oh, what's up, Blue Soldier Warrior 1984? What's up, brother? I am Mandan, Hadatsa, Arikara Nation in North Dakota. Bigfoot. Is Bigfoot in North Dakota? Oh, yeah. I see Blue Soldier. What do you think so, Jen?
I think Bigfoot is in every state. However, there is not as many trees in North Dakota, so it's a little bit harder for them to hide. I would look closer to riverbeds. There's trees that go along the rivers. And even where I live in Moorhead, Minnesota, we've had some things happen along the rivers here where there's tree cover. So, I mean, they can be anywhere where there's water and trees. So, especially they are in North Dakota. You don't hear about it as much, but they are.
Worldwide.
Mm-hmm. Every continent. Maybe not Hawaii. I don't know. You guys heard anything in Hawaii?
I'm willing to go and look.
I was just gonna say we could go check out the beaches. We could, I'm up for it.
I'm down for that. Z Sun Dragon, definitely portal movement around Bigfoot, shimmering, then vanishes into the trees.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jojo Dirtbike, Darren, can you smile for the ladies? Whoa, we got a lot of people smiling right there. You even break out a smile the whole time right there. Good job, Darren. Jojo Dirtbike says, hello, She Squatchers.
Hello, hey, Jojo.
Blue Soldier Warrior, dope show tonight, everyone. Oh, thank you, Blue Soldier Warrior. Dodge Fly. Oh, Dodge 11. Okay, thumbs up. Sorry, thumbs up. Great guest. Thank you, Dodge LA F11. Yeah, the handles are kind of interesting sometimes to read. At Mouse, hey, natives got a monopoly on this, bro. Right here, any 8,000 says hello, and I have a question. Yeah, go ahead. That's from Twitch right there. Um, Chris Soto, Cretio Soto, go, She Squatchers. I follow your channel. I gotta say, I can feel the high energy from you ladies. It's radiating through my TV.
Nice.
Definitely.
Yep.
Hopefully, they can radiate through this broadcast right here, right now.
Yeah.
Before we close out tonight, Darren, do you have any questions for the ladies?
Oh no, just keep shining on. There's a lot of this world's a dark and cold place. It's one thing to think that you're alone, and that's an evil part, of life that people don't have time to understand, to listen to one another, be there for one another, help one another. And I do admire you guys. You do put a smile on my face by hearing your words, for each other, just suffering for the people, being there for the people, which is really good. And it's a rare trait nowadays in this corporation of this life that we're living in, that people seem to be thinking more about themselves and not giving back. So that's what you guys are doing is really, it's really inspiring. Thank you. And I'll be watching you guys. I'll be watching, and I'll be rooting for you too, for the She Squatchers. And make sure you take a knife when you guys go outside. It's the wilderness, And that that's just my 2 cents on it. And take care of yourselves, out there. And I'm pretty sure you guys do. But you just hear it from me,
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. There's a lot to learn from you too.
Thank you.
And from your channel. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Darren. All Darren said, same thing. Everything you said, same thing for me. And like I said to Miss Jena earlier, was I like to say thank you to both of you guys to starting this off a long time ago and just being one of the pillars in this community, and also sharing example and also your journey with us. And you guys are our heroes. You guys are my hero.
Yep.
And I looked up to you guys already before we even started this podcast, and even before I started investigating 10 years ago. This is how long I've been investigating, and you guys were already there at the beginning. So I draw inspiration from both of y'all. And I like to say thank you, appreciate your time, and it's been a blast.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You guys are so beautiful. Thank you so much for having us on, and it was such a pleasure getting to be with you. And thank you, everybody.
Miigwech.
Yes. We got 8 minutes left. Do you guys have any last things you want to say to the viewers out there?
Oh boy. Well,
Jen is a beautiful speaker. She loves speaking, and I'm just letting her because she's amazing. Go, Jen.
Jenna's just awesome. She's just awesome. There's so much of this that I've never could have done this without her. And her and I have been, we've gone through a lot of different things since we first started She Squatchers in 2015. And we've gone through so many things. We had a lot of medical mishaps, and we kept going through it all. And I just can't say enough about how that our sisterhood has brought us through, and sometimes just the pure wanting of knowing more, of exploring the great mysteries, because this whole world is filled with great mysteries and we're supposed to be exploring them.
Right.
It's an excitement in life that people aren't supposed to just be working and paying bills their whole life. They're supposed to be having fun, exploring the great mysteries and sharing the joys with other people. And that's more about what life is about.
Life is the adventure.
Yes.
Life is the adventure. You just have to step into it.
Yes. And there's always going to
Hopefully.
be more to know about. There's always going to be more. No one will ever know all of it. So there's never going to run out of things to explore and to want to know more about. And I think that's just the most exciting thing, for us anyway. And so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for Jena to be with me on this journey. Um, we're just so happy that we are able to do this and get out there, and that people want to know the things that we've experienced and that we've found. And
yes, and the support that we've gotten. Wow, thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
it's been amazing.
Thank you. You're welcome. Hopefully one of these days we get to meet you guys and work with you guys in person. Maybe you guys can come to Navajo land and you guys can see us scream, and maybe we'll hide behind you guys.
All right. Man,
I am
totally hide behind us.
I'm super interested in petroglyphs, and I know you guys have them down there, right?
Oh yeah, we got all kinds of crazy things petroglyph wise. But that being said, we're running to the end of our show, and we appreciate you guys here with us and joining us and coming on the airwaves and sending your great vibes to all the listeners' ears and eyes out there. Appreciate that again. And last two comments here before we close out. We got two last comments here. Daryl Nor Benito says, howdy, She Squatchers, and don't whistle at night, guys. Hey, Daryl. That's Sasquatch, right, Daryl? Anyways, Shelly Chavez. Hey, what's up, Shelly? Says, hey, brother. I totally forgot you were going live here on YouTube. I thought you were going live on TikTok. Well, I'm sorry, my bad. It's all good. Thank you for coming on and sharing us your wisdom and all you know, and it is not wasted here. And we very much appreciate it. And we'll chat again to get you guys back on, because I know you guys have so much to share and to share with us, because we're a sick world and everyone needs to hear some enlightenment out there and love from you guys. And you guys want to say laters one last time before I close this out?
Love you guys. Mwah and mwah.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, everybody. Come follow our YouTube channel too.
Yeah. Can you tell them where to follow you?
We're on YouTube. We're on YouTube as She Squatchers Official. We're also on Facebook, She Squatchers Official, but I'm Jen Kruse with one N, Jen Kruse, Kruse. Come find me on Facebook. That's usually the best way to get a hold of me. Jena's kind of an antisocial social media girl.
I'm so busy living. I don't remember to even go on. It gives me anxieties. I'd rather lay on the ground and absorb the energy from the earth.
She's not lying.
I'm not lying.
It's all good. It's all good. But we appreciate you guys. And I'm going to close this out right now, you guys. I'll see you guys later on the other side, okay? Appreciate it. You guys did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Love you too. See ya.
Bye.
All right. Thank you for tuning into Don't Whistle at Night. We are broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I am your host, Don Yazzie, my co-host, Darren Yazzie. Both of us like to say laters. You guys have a great night. Don't whistle at night. Be safe out there. Thank you.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.